For Bill, this reinforces exactly why he lives the way he lives. And there's just so much pain that you see boiling up. Oh, hi, Chad. Good morning. Do you want to react to The Last of Us with me? What's going on, everybody? My name is Omar Farouk. I am a therapist specializing in trauma-informed care, and I had a couple comments in the last video asking me to react to The Last of Us. From a therapist perspective, there is so much to take from the story between Ellie and Joel. Also, keep in mind, I am not really doing a deep analysis today or anything like that, just more so just kind of sitting back with my trauma therapist hat on and reacting to the different encounters these characters kind of go through. All right, without further ado, let's get into it.
Tommy,
the performances in this game are incredible. Like the voice acting, I don't know if they did motion capturing. It looks like they did.
We'll talk about it in the morning. All right,
but absolutely incredible.
Hey.
My baby girl.
So here we're spending some time before the chaos kind of ensues. So one thing that makes PTSD so difficult to navigate and so damaging is the perception that changes. This is a perfect example of how things are normal. Everything is fine. They're celebrating Joel's birthday as if tomorrow is just going to be another day. However, the sudden shock of the trauma experience that we're about to see over here is what changes your perception outlook in the world. So what PTSD does, it kind of changes the way you look at yourself. It changes the way you look at other people. It changes the way you look at the world, or all of the above. This is why people with a lot of trauma, a lot of complex trauma, will tend to feel the world is unsafe. People are dangerous. I am not safe in this world. I am unworthy. They have these affirmations because of the fact that they once thought the world was safe and a life event happens that proves them wrong. And now, in order to protect themselves, they're going to internalize these affirmations and believe them to be true because their lizard brain kind of has no choice.
Hello?
Sarah, honey, I need to get your daddy on the phone.
Uncle Tommy, what time is it?
I need to talk to your dad now. There's something.
This doesn't help Sarah's case at all, especially considering what's about to happen. This is where any character in her shoes wakes up to an alarming phone call. She's coming out of like a very restful state. Her heart rate was very low, and this is where her heart rate is probably going to start to rise. Her body's going to start to prepare to start releasing cortisol in order to kind of get ready for the stress response that's going to be appropriate for what she's about to see.
Jimmy!
Dad?
Come here. Jimmy! Jimmy, get right back! Jimmy, I am warning you!
Oh my God. So this is where the story of trauma kind of starts to begin. The way I like to define trauma in the most layman's terms, this is not really me using any clinical definition, this is just me just trying to explain in a very simplistic way. There's your sense of self, whether you want to call it your soul, your identity, your consciousness. There's a part of you that perceives you. Sometimes threats happen in life, and these threats will come up as something that's outside of you, some external party. It could be a parent, it could be a natural disaster, it could be another person, a car accident, war, whatever. Doesn't matter the severity. When that external stimuli starts to pose as a threat and it starts to push you towards fight or flight, or even freeze or fawn, which are different types of escalated or triggered states from our survival mechanism in our nervous system. Once we start to get into those states, we can start to consider the encounter traumatic. When you need to run, fight, scream, cry, kick, when these responses are suppressed and you're forced to stay calm or someone's holding you down that you can't react, this is where all that kind of energy just builds up. And PTSD develops because all of that trauma goes unprocessed. This essentially gets stuck in your body.
He's dead! God damn it! We're almost
So from Joel's perspective and Tommy's perspective, because their cortisol is building up and because they're able to just run, fight, give in to their natural instincts, this situation alone in isolation may not necessarily cause PTSD because of their survival instincts kicking in. And this is assuming if everything was to just work out and the world doesn't go to hell afterwards. This is the scene. This is the scene that gets me.
It's okay, baby. We're safe. We're safe.
Let's pause it right there. Let's stop right there. We're safe. The body starts to calm down just a little bit. Their adrenaline is probably still rushing, but it's this cognition. The human part of your brain is telling you, okay, we are safe. This is where PTSD would really play a nasty mind game, because the PTSD would tell Joel in the future, like, you thought you were safe, and this is why you'll never be safe, because when you think you're safe, something bad will happen.
Shit. Please don't.
Wow.
Oh no. Sarah. Move your hands, babe. I know, baby, I know.
Oof. I remember I cried the first time
Okay, baby,
I
stay
saw
with
this.
me.
The performances are so
Sarah.
top tier, and this is so heartbreaking.
Baby.
This hits so... Okay, so there's so many layers there that we can kind of apply what we've already talked about. Joel and Sarah get to a place where they finally feel like they've reached some sort of like refuge. So that affirmation comes up, okay, we're safe now. And someone who they're supposed to trust to keep them safe turns their back on them. This can also be a traumatic event. This soldier betrays their trust, shoots at them, and Joel goes through one of his darkest experiences in his life. Grief is something that when you lose someone, whether it's in a relationship you break up or whether it's someone that you love that you've lost, grief changes your life forever. I'm one of those people. I think grief, especially when it's someone who's close to you, impacts you for the rest of your life. That you never really truly stop grieving. This is what we would kind of call traumatic grief. Not only did he lose someone and he's grieving his daughter, he lost her in a very traumatic way. Joel is feeling very intense variations of anger, sadness, fear, all bubbling up into more complex emotions like resentment, so on and so forth. And his physiology is probably just being put through the ringer with his heart rate spiking, with all that adrenaline pumping. If he isn't given proper time or space to scream, yell, like really like emotionally process the trauma that he just witnessed, any person in his shoes could develop to have nightmares of this experience, staying hypervigilant, constantly on edge. And as we see, like, with how the world is going to progress in this universe, Joel doesn't really have much of a reason to not develop PTSD.
Whoa. Come on now. Get on up.
Fuck away from me!
There she is, Ellie. When kids have to develop with these heightened states that we talked about, with high levels of cortisol receptors, always constantly on edge, always ready to go into fight or flight, it physically changes the way they develop. It physically changes the way their body functions. If you're not aware, the ACEs study does a really good job at outlining how constant exposure to trauma during your developmental years and before you turn 18 can potentially change your DNA and pass down that trauma through generations. In this case, we see Ellie probably has some attachment disruption. I don't remember her backstory. I think in the show, like, it showed that the mom died shortly after Ellie was born. As humans, we thrive, we survive on forming attachments, and the first attachment we form physiologically is to our mothers. Before we're born, we're spending 9 months with our mother. When you take away an attachment figure within the first 3 years of a child's life, that changes their entire personality forever. So there's already like a subconscious abandonment issue thing going on here, which we're going to see in the series as these scenes progress. But also, like, she had to grow up looking over her back. Now she's hyper vigilant.
Well, then I'm staying.
Ellie, we won't get another shot.
This is another good example of like the abandonment issues coming out. Her being torn away from other people she's going to attach onto, which is, by the way, something very normal that we do as humans. We build attachments. That's how we survive. We're social creatures. Her being ripped away from Marlene in this case is going to subconsciously remind her lizard brain, which controls her autonomic function, is going to be reminded of what it felt like to lose her mother. And for that reason, we see her not taking it really well. And here we see him clearly hypervigilant in his sleep, unable to process his trauma. He's probably having nightmares here. I'm no sleep expert, but the way I understand it, the different levels of sleep that you go into are there to help you process what happened throughout the day, and that includes processing emotional encounters. And that's how it kind of like saves up RAM for the day. That's what helps you forget irrelevant or insignificant memories from the day. With trauma, however, when it comes to PTSD, your sleep cannot process the trauma because your heart rate rises to a certain certain point, your body can't stay asleep and you just jump out of your sleep. And this is theorized to be one of the reasons why people with a lot of PTSD don't have good quality of sleep, why they might have nightmares of the traumatic encounter. The HBO series does something very interesting with the scene. I don't know if I'm remembering it correctly, but in the HBO series, in this encounter with this federal officer, whatever, I think I remember Joel experiencing a PTSD flashback because of the lights, because of the dark, because of the soldier holding a gun. The encounter looked way too similar to what it was like when he lost his daughter, and he completely freaks out. This is what you would call a PTSD flashback, where someone gets so triggered, they get kind of hijacked. You just kind of black out, your body makes a decision for you. Otherwise, Joel would have risked losing everything once again, including potentially himself. And that's all informed by that one first encounter when he lost his daughter.
Where to go?
No, that was your crusade. I am not doing that.
Yes, you are. Look. There's enough here that you have to feel some sort of obligation to me, so you get her to Tommy's.
Joel has also formed an attachment to Tess out of survival or trauma bonding, whatever you want to call it. And this is yet another attachment disruption, although it's not in his developmental years of his life and is going to be nowhere near as damaging as it probably was for Ellie when she lost her mother. This starts to become, once again, an affirmation or an appraisal, a cognitive interpretation of his reality. The world is unsafe.
Just take it easy.
Any bites?
Oh.
Anything sprouting?
Oh, God damn it, I'm clean!
Well, if I see so much as a twig. Ow! Stop! Son of a bitch!
It's so interesting seeing the interaction between Ellie and Bill. You see like how these two nervous systems that are responding in such similar ways to this new world that they have to clash. It's such a accurate depiction of what happens when people whose nervous systems are on fire meet other people whose nervous systems are on fire.
Let's gear up.
Ultimately, they decide to work together because they know that, you know, as much as characters are going to say, I work alone, I work better off alone, I want to survive on my own, it's going to be only natural that humans are going to tend to work and stick together because attachment and social connectedness is what ensured our survival as we were evolving as a human species.
Shove it right up. Nothing to do with.
Jesus.
That is just
What, you know this guy or
a
something?
gruesome sight. I love how the HBO series expands
the only
upon
idiot that
Bill
would wear
and
a shirt
Frank's
like
history. For Bill, this reinforces exactly why he lives the way he lives. And there's just so much pain that you see boiling up. Oh, hi, Chad. Good morning. Do you want to react to The Last of Us with me?
Yeah, I guess not. Well, fuck him.
Yeah, this is a very common thing that people do when they're trying to protect themselves from pain. We minimize and we maybe even sometimes invalidate the pain that we're going through and kind of pretend that we don't really care.
It was good. It was real good.
Good. Can you believe this guy? Come on, man, give me details. Describe it.
You know what? You two deserve a little privacy.
So moments like
Seen it
these
in my-
are very important for survival too, believe it or not, because, well, one, they kind of reinforce that social bond. During moments like these, during moments of emotional intimacy, moments when you're like around your best friends or your like family, if you're close with them, having the best time of your life, we see a release of this chemical known as oxytocin. And oxytocin is known as the love chemical, but it's not necessarily love just in romantic environments, it's love in general. And this is another thing that kind of reinforces that bond that we have with our support group, the people who make us feel like we have a sense of belongingness. A sense of belongingness is integral and critical for survival. Humans survived by creating tribes and watching each other's back. Having multiple people here making sure that the other person survives is more beneficial than only having one person.
Did Henry send you?
No? Why would Henry send me?
To make sure I'm not fucking up somehow.
I'd say we all did pretty good back there. Especially you. Is everything all right?
So
Yeah, everything's fine.
This is where we like start to see some cognitive distortions come up. We know that Sam's been bit. I'm sorry, spoiler. We know that Sam knows he's been bit, and no one else knows he's been bit. Sam also mentioned something along the lines of like, I'm screwing up somehow. That kind of implies that there's probably been many encounters where Henry has been harsh on Sam. And Henry's probably like coming from a sincere and a tough love place where he wants Sam to just survive. But Sam is still a human being. He can't help but hear that he's letting down his older brother. And because Sam is in this state where he kind of feels like a disappointment, that spawns thoughts like, I'm screwing shit up. So we see that the way we feel starts to spawn thoughts that are often congruent or often aligned with how we feel. So with people with a lot of trauma or with some depression, their thoughts are going to need to make meaning out of why they feel the way they feel. And this sparks some cognitive distortions.
Sam?
The hell? Shit, he's turning! That's my fucking brother! Screw it!
Shit!
Ellie? Ellie, are you all right?
Oh my god.
Sam?
Oh no.
Sam?
Man,
Henry?
this scene hits so
Ellie, stay there.
hard.
Henry? What have you done? I'm gonna get that gun from you, okay? Oh, okay, easy. This is your fault. This is nobody's fault, Henry. It's all your fault! Henry! Henry, no!
Oh my god.
All right, let's pause there. The shock of Sam turning is what kind of once again reinforces that this world is not safe. We can't trust anybody. Rinse and repeat. However, in this case, Henry just cannot grasp the situation. He cannot grasp what he's done. He's probably in shock. Those feelings of anger, pain, and resentment are coming up, and he has no one to aim it towards because he knows he's the one who pulled the trigger. Joel is trying to get the gun away from him because he knows at this dysregulated state, Henry is probably a danger to others and himself. He's trying to get the gun away. This is what we have to do for people who are in some sort of a mental health crisis, kind of disarm the situation, de-escalate. However, at this point, it's probably too late.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Joel. Oh man, they were coming in from every direction. Then Maria was like, "We gotta run!" And so we dove over these tables, and this huge guy blasted with a shotgun.
Slow down. Listen, hey, are you hurt?
No.
Joel probably realizes that Ellie's kind of reigniting Joel's sense of self-worth as a father. And for Ellie, she's starting to look at him as a father figure, or look at him at least as a trusted companion where she can come and she can just talk as she wants to and be her authentic self.
Is this really all they had to worry about? Boys, movies, deciding which shirt goes with which skirt?
Get up. We're leaving.
And if I say no?
Do you even realize what your life means? Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk? It's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
What do you want from me?
Admit that you wanted to get rid of me the whole time.
Tommy knows this area.
Oh,
better
fuck
than...
that.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can't get infected. I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all right so far.
And now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
There's that trigger.
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
There's
Everyone
where
I
this
have
conversation
cared for
is all
has
about
either
how
died or left me.
loss and trauma are so deeply intertwined.
Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. And we
Wow.
are going our separate ways.
Joel leaving Ellie would kind of trigger that abandonment trauma once again, that she has, again, deeply rooted into her neural wiring. that creates a triggered response. In this case, she ran. Easier for her to just avoid the reality of losing yet again another attachment figure in her life. And you even see it in the ways that she greets Joel. She's like, oh, is this what really people were worried about? Just trying to play it off. And this is her way of avoiding that conversation, fleeing from that conversation, hence that flight response. For kids, especially with a lot of complex trauma, the only thing that really serves as a good tool to help aid in their healing journey are adults in their life that are consistent, safe, reliable, and predictable. And the consistency of Joel being in her life and protecting her for as long as he has kind of instills this confidence in herself, this sense of resilience that now she has to come to terms with the idea of having ripped away from her.
Ellie, get off your horse. Give it on back to Tommy. I'm gonna hang on to this fella, if that's all right with you. Go on, don't make me repeat myself.
What are you doing?
Your wife kind of scares me. I don't want her coming after me.
Sorry for stealing your horse.
Look, come back to town. Let's discuss it at least.
You know me, my mind's all made up.
My interpretation of what's happening here, or what happened here on their way back to town, Joel had some time to have his parasympathetic nervous system kick in, that part of his response that would calm him down, and kind of have some time to interpret the situation with a more calm state of mind. And I think he realized the damage he would have done if he kind of let Ellie go.
Name's David. This here's my friend James. We're from a larger group. Women, children.
I think the HBO show does a really good job at outlining like the sociopathic and psychopathic nature of a character like David. And sociopathy, psychopathy, they all fall under the diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder. Okay, so I'm gonna skip through this scene a little bit. I think, just trigger warning, it is very violating, the actions that David does towards, or tries to do towards Ellie. Ellie's survival response kicks in, and we see her bash his head with a machete. Rightfully so.
It's me! It's me! It's me! Look! It's me.
He tried to...
Oh, baby girl. It's okay. It's okay.
Joel.
It's okay.
This is once again another thing that kind of strengthens the bond between Ellie and Joel. Ellie's most vulnerable time, the one person that's there for her is this fatherly figure. Yeah, this I'm not showing the whole scene for a reason because of the trigger warning, but I think y'all can kind of make out what was happening there.
It's no mistake, without you I can't function. Hey there.
This whole like relationship that Joel has kind of now gained with Ellie is, I think, very healing for him, because he gets to now redeem himself. He probably to a certain degree feels responsible for what happened to his daughter Sarah, and now his newfound relationship with Ellie gives him a chance to really like make up for any sort of shame or guilt he was harboring. You know, really play the tape through. What would Joel look like if he were to have the chance to continue being a father?
Once they remove it, they'll be able to reverse engineer a vaccine. A vaccine.
But it grows all over the brain.
It does.
All of a sudden you start to see the spike.
No one.
You see the change in Joel's like tone, that trigger, that trauma reminder of what it was like to lose a daughter comes right back up.
But whatever it is you think you're going through right now is nothing to what I have been through.
Yeah, this is something you don't want to say to people after they go through a traumatic experience, or even any type of thing that's difficult. Well, I'll put it this way. If you go to someone and you've been through hell and back, the last thing you want to hear them say is like, what about me? What do you think I've been through? This is why we start with validating. When someone's in a distressed state, you empathize and you say, hey, I see where you're coming from. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you. What can I do to support you?
I ain't got time for this. Where? Top floor, the far end.
So this is where we see like Joel go on this almost animalistic rampage after finding out that they're about to kill Ellie. His fatherly instincts are kicking in, but also so is his trigger of losing a daughter, like the trigger of what it was like to lose Sarah kicking in. And he's almost kind of reenacting what he probably wished he would have done with that soldier who shot Sarah. All right, this is the scene.
Sweet Jesus.
Doctor? What are you doing in here? I won't let you take her.
Once again, Joel is like tunnel vision. There is no reasoning with him. His survival state has hijacked his nervous system. All he could think about is himself and the daughter he sees in Ellie.
You can't save her. Even if you get her out of here, then what? How long before she's torn to pieces by a pack of clickers? That is, if she hasn't been raped and murdered first.
It ain't for you to decide.
It's what she'd want. And you know it.
There's so many complexities here because they're both right. Marlene knows that this is what Ellie would have chosen if she had a choice. However, Ellie did not have a choice here. She didn't even have a chance to agree to this, which is what makes, in my opinion, this operation very, very unethical. But this is where Joel is also kind of right, where like, you know, they have no right to decide this for her. So they're both kind of at a stalemate. And this is where we find out the decision that Joel made probably killed Marlene.
What am I wearing?
Just take it easy. Drugs are still wearing off.
And he saved Ellie.
We found the fireflies. Turns out there's a whole lot more.
Once again, there's that hijacked, animalistic fight or flight instinct kicking in. Even though Marlene is coming at him disarmed, and like he decides to kill her.
They've stopped looking for a cure. I'm taking us home.
And here, Ellie, you could tell Ellie knows that something's wrong.
Should be a straight shot through here.
We kind of see
All right.
Ellie's and Joel's relationship is a little strained now.
Yeah.
She senses something is wrong or something's off with his story. Once you break some trust, once you lie to someone that you care about and who cares about you, that hurts the relationship, whether you feel justified in doing what you did or not.
Hey, wait. Back in Boston? Back when I was bitten? I wasn't alone. My best friend was there. And she got bit too. We didn't know what to do. So, she says, let's just wait it out. You know, we can be all poetic and just lose our minds together. I'm still waiting for my turn.
Ellie.
Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die. And then it was Tess. And then Sam.
So, you know, as human beings, we are interpreting machines. We need to make meaning out of every experience in our lives. In this case, Ellie has gone through so much loss, and this entire time, this comes within the context of that she could be the answer. She could make sure that their deaths weren't in vain.
None of that is on you.
You don't understand.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. And you, no matter what, you keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear to me. Swear to me that everything that you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
And this is where a part of their relationship probably takes damage for the rest of the story. Wow, okay. So you already see like a difficult back and forth between Ellie and Joel. Both of them should be able to sense that something within that relationship between them has been hurt, has been damaged. In that instance, Joel had the opportunity to repair the damage that had been done, yet he doubles down and continues to lie to her, knowing that Ellie knows that something is up. Now, I know a lot of people cheer on Joel, and this is where I'll get a lot of hate, and they think that he did the right thing overall. I don't think it's as simple as that. I don't necessarily agree with the Fireflies that they decided to make that decision to put Ellie through that surgery without her consent. Ellie, just like every other human being, has the right to her own autonomy, and the Fireflies were looking to take away that decision from her. Yet, knowing probably deep down that Ellie would have agreed to the surgery had she been given the chance, Joel had also stripped her of the opportunity. Ultimately, for people who are as traumatized, who have been through so much just like Ellie, the last thing they need is a person that they look up to for safety, predictability, consistency for that individual to once again turn on them and lie to them, betray that trust. If you think about it, this is not all that far off from what Joel experienced when he was shot at by that soldier in the beginning of the game. There is this figure who is supposed to protect and govern, betrays their trust. Joel loses his daughter. That kind of creates this damage in his perception to all of society forever. Much like how that occurred, this will kind of damage the way Ellie looks at Joel for the rest of their relationship. Anyways, this is all I have for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I'm sorry this isn't a deep analysis. I just wanted to kind of put my therapist hat on and react in real time to some of the major scenes in this game. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. I'm sure I've gotten a lot of stuff wrong within this video, and I would love to hear your perspective. Let me know what you want to see next. Anyways, comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.
Other kind of incarnations, and so I sort of had this, like, that was the epiphany. It just clicked. It was like, oh. And even though beforehand I understood it and the concept made sense, and I tried to embody it, I feel like something just kind of shifted.